Good morning, everybody. Today, my thought for a game is called the polar bear game. Now, it's been really warm outside, so I thought this game would be cool to learn how to play. So, there's many levels that you can play, from the earliest learners to even up to 4th, 5th, 6th graders, because it gets pretty challenging with what you do with the dice. Now, when you play, you're going to roll 5 dice. Now, the first level, you just have to figure out how many polar bears are around the ice hole. So now, the center dot on a dice is considered the ice hole. So the 1 would have no bears around it. If you rolled a 2, there's no ice hole, so there's no bears there either. If you roll a 3, there would be 2 polar bears because there is a center ice hole and 2 bears are sitting around it. If you rolled a 4, there wouldn't be any bears because there's no ice hole. If you rolled a 5, there would be 4 bears around that ice hole. And if you rolled a 6, there would be 0 bears because there's no ice hole. So if you were to do that with the youngest of learners, after you rolled your 5 dice, you could do something like this. So I rolled a 4, and I'm going to draw a picture of it. I rolled a 6. I rolled a 1. I rolled another 4. And I rolled a 3. So on this game, if you saw this, you would first of all look for ice holes. I see 2, but one of them is a 1, so there aren't any bears there. The even numbered dice don't have holes in the center. So the only one that would have bears on it this time would be the 3. With the 3, there's 2 bears around the ice hole. So that round would score you 2. You could compete against friends, family members, whatever, and simply maybe play 10 rounds and count up your total number of bears. That's the first level of play. The second level of play is when you add fish. Bears, at least polar bears, like to eat fish. So in this case, you're going to count bears and fish. Now let me tell you how to find the fish. To count the fish, you're going to look into any hole, and the opposite face of the dice always makes a sum of 7. So there are 6 fish on a face with 1 pip, which means the dot in the center. There would be 4 fish on a face that has a 3 because 4 is on the back. And there would be 2 fish on the back of the dice that has a 5. So if I was to figure out in this roll how many bears and how many fish, let me draw what I have. So I got a 1, I got a 2, I got a 5, I got a 3, and I got a 3. So you're going to look down the holes to find your fish and count what's on the back. Remember, each die, when you opposite faces, always count up to 7. And you're also going to count the bears sitting around the ice hole. So if I got a 1, a 2, a 5, a 3, and a 3, the first dice has no bears, but it does have an ice hole. The second one, no ice hole. The third one, an ice hole with 4 bears. The fourth one and fifth one have 2 bears each. So it's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's how many bears there would be. Now, to count our fish. You look down the ice hole, and it's the total on the other side of your dice that's going to equal your fish. So if I have a 1, that would be 6 fish. On the 5, there would be 2 fish on the other side. So that would be 6, and then it would be 2. And then on the 2 3s, there would be 4s. So 4 plus 4 plus 2, that would be 10, and 6 more. That would be 16 fish. So again, you could play several rounds counting bears and fish. Here's the hardest level of all that's going to get really challenging. Now, fish up in the Arctic oftentimes will eat plankton. Plankton are really microscopic little creatures, and there are lots of them in the Arctic. So here's how you're going to count plankton. The plankton are going to be on the faces that are the even ones, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to look at your even dice. You're going to add those faces up. So the 2, the 4, the 6. Once you add those up, you multiply by 7, and then you count the plankton that are also on the back side of the even dice. So again, if it's a 2, the back side is a 5. On the back of a 4 is a 3, and on the back of the 6 is a 1. So any even dice, after you've added and multiplied by 7, you also add on the total number that is on the back faces of the even dice. So here's a round of bears, fish, and plankton. Let's see if I can do the math for this, everybody. So in this roll, I got a 5, I got a 3, I got a 2, I got another 5, and I got a 6. So let's score this one. So I'm looking at the bottom set of dice. So let's first of all count the bears. So there's 4 on the first dice, 2 bears on the second, nothing on the third, 4 on the fourth, and nothing on the fifth. So I have 4, 8, 9, 10 bears. Okay. To find the fish, I look through the holes and I figure out what's on the back. So again, I'm looking at the bottom set. So there's an ice hole in the first one. So there will be 2 fish on the back of that. The second one has an ice hole. There's going to be 4 on that one. So 2 plus 4 is 6. There's no ice hole on the third one. There's going to be 2 on the fourth one and nothing on the fifth one. So we have 2 and 4 and 2. So that makes 8 fish. And now the plankton. So again, you're going to look at the even dice. So that I have a 2 and I have a 6. I'm going to add those together. That's 8. I'm going to multiply it by 7 now. That's 56. On the back side of a 2 is a 5. So 56 plus 5 would be 61. And then the 6, the opposite side, is a 1. So that would be 62. So this round would get 62 plankton. So at the end of my video, I'm going to show you some sample ones you can try just to practice first before you play the game. I've also got a couple of challenges for you. What would be the rolls to make the smallest numbers of bears and fish and plankton possible? Or what would make the greatest total of bears, fish, and plankton possible? It's kind of a challenging game, even though it seems simple. So I hope you give the game How Many Polar Bears Around the Ice Hole, or just simply the polar bear game, a try. Happy adding, happy multiplying, happy practicing, knowing the facts for 7, because you're always looking at the opposite faces, adding up to 7 on the dice. It's got a lot of nuances and a lot of challenges, but I hope you enjoy it. Have a great day, everybody. Enjoy the game and enjoy the day. Here's a look at the directions and some activities you can try to practice before you play the game on your own. Have fun with it, everybody. Be cool and give it a try.